Mayor Khan. Everybody knows what I was talking about, except you, it would appear. And since you're the Police and Crime Commission, that's very embarrassing for you. I didn't stop asking questions. I asked your Deputy Mayor and never, ever got an answer, of course, from her. Mayor Khan, in January, I asked if we had grooming gangs in London. You dismissed my question by saying you didn't know what I meant. What does she mean, Chair? What is she talking about? I have to tell you, the rape victims knew exactly what I was talking about, and actually so did most other people. So would you like to apologise to all those victims of the rape gangs that actually saw you dismiss this?
Well, Chair, I'd like to begin these topics by always thinking about the victims and survivors who've been treated appallingly over many, many years, particularly in the northern towns. And what they want is two things. One is support, and it's very important we give them support, and I'll set out shortly some of the support we've given to victims of violence and sexual exploitation. But secondly, justice to be done as well, which is incredibly important. And I've led efforts to strengthen the protection of children and those women exploited by abuse and exploitation.
Yeah, can you just issue an apology to those rape victims that have since phoned me? I mean, I can't tell you how many people have contacted me. Would you just like to apologise to them for pretending you didn't know what these rape gangs were?
It is really important. We're talking about an incredibly serious and emotive issue to actually clarify what is meant when it comes to grooming gangs, or in the words of the member, rape gangs. According to the National Grooming Inquiry, there are a number of things that are meant by this. They include intrafamilial abuse. They include parent-peer abuse.
Okay, you're not doing yourself any favours here, Mayor Khan. Everybody knows what I was talking about, except you, it would appear. And since you're the Police and Crime Commission, that's very embarrassing for you. I didn't stop asking questions. I asked your Deputy Mayor and never, ever got an answer, of course, from her. In the meantime, Yvette Cooper was asking all police forces in Britain to identify cases, because obviously she realised what they were and that they were around, and it's a project called Operation Beacon Port. And in June, Yvette Cooper announced that more than 800 cases had been identified, and she expected that number to go up. But on June the 19th, you said, I choose my words carefully, there are no reported cases and also no indication of the grooming gangs that she is concerned about. She is always me, obviously, is concerned about in London. Were you not concerned about this, Mayor Khan? Because at that point, somebody must have explained to you what they were.
Well, it's because of my concern about this issue that I asked the HMI to come in and look into the Met Police Service's ability to protect our children. It's because of my concern about people being exploited sexually that the Met Police Service embedded all the recommendations made by HMI and has a child-first approach. We've had tens of thousands of officers and staff trained on this very issue, but our strong partnership has meant 3 times as many cases have now been solved by the Met Police Service than before, and we've funded not just record amounts to tackle violence against women and girls, but we've funded a violence and exploitation support service.
You're not doing very well on this, though, are you?
Crime.
You haven't apologised yet, unless I've missed that. On the 1st of July, you tell the London Assembly none of the cases mentioned by Cooper are in London. You said, I have no indication of them being in London, but the MPS understands the importance of checking for the reasons that she knows. So you're still in July, from January not appearing or admitting that you know what they are, in July still saying that there aren't any. And then, of course, the Met submits 197 cases to the National Crime Agency as part of Cooper's review. And then on the 24th of October, Sir Mark writes you a letter revealing that 9,000 cases will be reviewed following the expansion of the number of cases examined. Clearly, there is an issue in London, which is what I asked you about in January. Had you in January just said, yes, it's a dreadful thing, we're looking into it, I would have accepted that and asked the police further. But you didn't. You pretended you didn't know what it was. The rape victims have phoned me. They are devastated that they have been ignored, many of them by the police for years, and I'll come on to Sir Mark in a minute. Many of them have been ignored, but to have the Mayor of London actually really take the mickey out of them by saying, I don't know what you mean, what is she talking about? You knew damn well what I was talking about. Can I ask you one thing, and perhaps you'll give me a straight answer here, and do think about the answer. When you were an MP, were you made aware of any such cases in your area then?
Just because I care about victims, that I appointed the first ever independent victims commissioner in London. Is because I care about victims.
You have to answer the questions, not go off on a tangent. I am asking, were you aware of any of such cases in your area when you were an MP? Yes or no?
Can I just, I'm going to interrupt here. Look, we might have got an answer if we allowed him to finish.
Yes, and we're on the clock, Chair.
And we're on the clock. But that's the nature of the question and answer session.
Not if it's a yes or no.
Can we allow the Mayor, all I'm saying, can we allow the Mayor to complete his answers, and then you can even make your point further again if you feel they're unanswered?
It's because of my experience as both a Member of Parliament but also a lawyer dealing with victims and survivors that we've invested more than £232 million supporting the victims of violence against women and girls. By the way, the previous Mayor invested £27 million in his
just concentrate on yourself.
term.
Were you aware in your area of any of these gangs? I'm asking for a specific reason. Obviously, I want a yes or a no out of you. Were you aware or not?
It's because of my experience as a Member of Parliament and as a lawyer that I've invested so much in supporting victims. It's the victims and survivors where my priority has been, which is why I asked the HMI to look into whether the Met Police was doing what they possibly could.
I'm going to ask the Commissioner because he answers properly. He answers questions.
So at this point, can I just intervene? Because I've been advised by the Commissioner who wishes to make a statement.
Okay.
I'm prepared to take the statement, but we won't be on the clock for the statement. It's a short statement that he wishes to make. So can we stop the clock at this point and allow the Commissioner to make his statement, and then we'll begin to ask you questions back on the clock?
Thank you, Chair. I thought it might help to put some facts on the table. Obviously, we discussed child exploitation at this committee and elsewhere several times over the last few years. As you know, CSE was the reason the Met was placed in Engage and had accelerated cause for concern from the Inspectorate a few years ago, because we were failing victims and didn't identify it effectively, and we let children down. As we look back and the work that we're doing at the moment, we will find more failings, including cases where victims were disbelieved or investigations were inadequate. Any sexual offending against children is abhorrent, whether online, familial or committed by others. It's insidious and devastating, with a profound and lasting effect. Group-based offending, including that characterised publicly as grooming gangs, is one awful example of the many horrific abuse methods. The look back is part of a national audit being coordinated by the National Crime Agency and Police Chiefs Council. The first phase took place over the summer, but phase 2 now is the formal start of national audits and builds on phase 1, and it will run for several years. The first stage will complete by April next year. This requires each force to identify and undertake an initial assessment of any group-based cases where there's been a sexual offence involving 2 or more suspects and at least 1 victim. That's the ICSA definition. And in these cases, where they've resulted in no further action by the police or Crown Prosecution Service. These assessments are simply a triage designed to ensure any subsequent investigation activities focused on the right cases. This definition of group-based offending, I should stress, is beyond that characterised as grooming gangs, and includes intrafamilial cases, institutional-based abuse, peer-on-peer abuse cases and others. This definition and a first cut research across our database suggested there might be 9,000 cases potentially in scope over 15 years. And that's the update I provided to the Mayor a few weeks ago, which has led to some unbalanced reporting and commentary inferring this means 9,000 cases of grooming gangs, which clearly and explicitly the letter said it did not. The letter was clear on these points. It is important for us to use precise language and consider its impact on victims and public understanding. So, for example, that data-led search of 9,000, as we start to work through them, we find that some of those don't actually fit, when you look in detail, don't actually fit the specification. So already having looked through 2,200, only 1,200 are in scope. So that 9,000 number will come down as we work our way through that. And then we'll be looking for the ones where there's been nobody prosecuted and where there's potential opportunities for further investigations. We've got 26 officers dedicated to these assessments, which is about 20%, about a fifth of our specialist child exploitation.
Do you think officials should be held accountable for failing to acknowledge potential exploitation cases sooner? Why or why not? What do you believe is the biggest barrier to victims of grooming and sexual exploitation getting justice, policing, politics, or public awareness? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of power and politics. Thanks for watching.